Let the one who has two shoes sell one and buy a sword, and the one who has two trousers sell one and buy a sword. Because now it is a time for revolution, and this revolution is no longer on streets. This revolution is no longer on Facebook. This revolution is in the mind, because if the mind has not been changed or transformed, nothing physically can achieve sustainable result as we expect to see in Africa. Peace and power to all the global ACUP membership. This is simply our maybe last conversation of this year 2021 before we jump into the year 2022 according to the Western calendar. It is important that we have a brief conversation, maybe a reflection on what we have gone through, in the year 2021, and also most importantly about certain things that have to be done in the year 2022. It's very important that we embark in a new journey, in a new year, with a new mindset, with a renewed spirit and renewed mentality, but most importantly with some kinds of strong and new objectives for what we are willing to accomplish for the year 2022. So, I believe that in the year 2021, we have had a chance to to learn a lot of things through our different platforms in the ACUP. We have different many WhatsApp groups. We want to have 54 WhatsApp groups according to each country, and we have heard many of them already by now, and we have had a lot of discussions. A lot of books were shared on different platforms. A lot of conversations were done, and eventually we have come to learn different things. We've come to learn different things that obviously have brought certain level of awareness about the African situation, about African struggle, about the history, the present, maybe also a kind of projection in the future of African people. And we know that we have forces, negative forces that are obviously working behind the curtain to keep Africa in the condition of underdevelopment. We have come to learn all these things. We have come to learn different things. We have learned the history, we have learned the geopolitics, we have learned the economy. We have learned a lot of things, obviously. Myself, I think I've been blessed to come to know different people in this year 2021, and a lot of insight that we shared have obviously empowered me in terms of the knowledge, in terms of understanding of the African situation, and the way forward. And for now, we know actually that only unity is the way forward for Africa. If we are unable to unite ourselves, it means we are unable to solve our problems. We have come to know all these things. But what I wanted to share as idea that can help us to cross over in the year 2022 is that everything that we have learned so far, the knowledge of the history that we have obviously accumulated, the knowledge of economy, global politics, everything that we have learned so far, nothing we can do or we can say about all these things will change the mindset or the attitudes of the oppressors of Africa. In other words, none of things that we can say will really change the mindset of European so that he can stop to oppress Africa. So it doesn't even is not even actually worthy try to convince them or to plead on the consciousness of European men and women and expect them to one day change their mind and become how can I put it, to become maybe sympathetic towards Africa and change their politics and help Africa to develop. That's not going to happen. So it's a waste of time if we were to try that. The only thing that I want to encourage each one of us as African people generally or particularly, and as well as the ACUP members, one thing that I want to encourage all of us to do is to begin loving ourselves more than we love any other people on this planet Earth. That's number one. We need to be able to love ourselves more than we love anybody else. We have to be able to care about ourselves more than we care about anything else in this world. We have to be able to love Africa more than we love anything else or any other continent in this world. We have to be able to defend Africa more than we can defend any other entity in this world. We have to be able to love our people more than we love anything or anybody else in this world. These are the things that I recommend for the year 2022. Because apart from loving ourselves, apart from caring for ourselves, apart from putting our race first or before anything else, there's nothing else that we can do or we can say that will change the mindset or the attitudes of the oppressor towards us. All that we have to do is to change our own attitudes towards ourselves. That is why I'm talking about us, to love ourselves more than we love anybody else, to care for ourselves more than we care for anybody else, to defend ourselves more than we defend anything or anybody else. And if we are able to change our attitudes against ourselves or towards ourselves in a way that we'll be able to cultivate the love of our people, to care for our people, to really to care for Africa and to love Africa, we will then be able to do the only thing that we haven't been able to do, despite how much we know about the history, how much we know about Africa and its predicaments. There's one thing that we haven't been able to do. And we can be able to do that only if we have changed the attitude that we have towards ourselves, in a sense that we have been able to love ourselves more than we love anything else. And that one thing that we haven't been able to do, that we can do if we will be able to cultivate a deep and strong love for ourselves, for our people, and for Africa, it's organization. Organization. If we love ourselves very much, we will find a need to protect our race. If we love ourselves very much, we will find a need to care for our future. If we love ourselves very much, we will find the necessity to build a strategy to defend ourselves against the war that is being waged against the African survival as we're speaking right now. And the best way or the better way to do that, to care for ourselves, to protect our future, to defend ourselves, is to organize. Because up until now, African people, globally speaking, we are the only group of people that is really disorganized. Let me say that again. Up until today, as we speak in this moment, as African people, we are the single and the only group of people on this earth that is really disorganized from every aspect of life, whether you talk about politics, whether you talk about economy, whether you talk about religion, whether you talk about war, whether you talk about entertainment, whether you talk about education, whether you talk about sex, whether you talk about war, in all 9 areas of people's activities, we remain the most disorganized people on the face of the earth as African people. And it's only when we begin to organize ourselves, then we can now obviously channel our efforts together so that we can have actions that have more impact than individual things that we have been doing. So this is the mindset that we have to go with in the year 2022, is the mindset of organization, because as long as we remain disorganized, we will always be subject to other people's power and dominion. And those are the people who have found the way to organize themselves. So we need to organize ourselves. And the first organization that we need is a political organization, because people do politics to defend their economic interest, to defend their social interest, to defend their whatsoever interest. You see, that's the purpose of politics. You go into politics to defend and protect your interest. That be economic, political, economic, social, or other interest. So we, being disorganized as African people, we cannot protect, we cannot defend, we cannot even, maintain the interest that we have, in Africa. We cannot even defend our resources as Africa. So we need, firstly, to begin with a political organization, because politics obviously governs the remaining aspect of the society. And the ACUP is the platform that can help us to organize ourselves politically. We have a brilliant vision and a brilliant agenda that needs support from every walks of life in Africa. If you haven't heard about the vision of the ACUP, which is the vision for African global power base, I encourage you to get hold of our ideological handbook, from which you can obviously learn about ACUP vision, mission, and some of our important tools to re-engineer our society. We're talking about a new political system. We're talking about a new economic system. So this whole structure is an organization that can help African people, globally speaking, to organize ourselves. That is why we call ourselves African Continental Unity Party. So we have already an organizational structure, a political organizational structure, in which I invite everyone here to get involved and to partake and to become a member, an active member. The only way we can be able to achieve great results, because if you haven't been able to get involved, and I haven't been able to get involved, then this gonna stay only a theory or an idea that has not been materialized to bear fruits or result as we obviously expect them to be. So we need to be organized. The knowledge that you have gained throughout the year 2021, that's be political knowledge, historical knowledge, economic knowledge, I don't know, military knowledge, Pan-African, Pan-Africanist knowledge. That knowledge has to be put into practice by organizing ourselves, because we will be not able to change Africa if we don't put the knowledge into practice. And the best way to practice what we have learned in the year 2021 is to use them in a certain way, or in a way of organizing ourselves, so that when we act according to what we've learned, our actions have more impact, because now we will be acting collectively and we'll be acting together as African people, and our actions will have more impact and more influence. So once again, I'm inviting you to obviously join the ACUP, because it's a structure that will organize African people. It brings us together and organize us so that our efforts, our actions collectively can have meaningful impact in everyday reality of African people. And within the ACUP, we also have economic structures that obviously aim to organize our small resources together so that we can build corporations around the continent, corporations obviously that are owned by African people, globally speaking. The only way we can obviously see our survival turned into our existence in the future. So organization is the key here, is the key of the message for the year 2022. If you are not part of any organization that is meaningfully aiming to create the conditions for African liberation, I'm urging you to be part of an organization. This is no longer a time to be distracted. This is no longer a time to seek for self-interest and self-profit. It is time to seek for collective, a community interest and community existence, because through community interest and existence, we as individuals can exist. Apart from or away from community existence and structure of existence and a future, as individuals, actually, we're going to be crushed by those who are part of communities or strong communities and strong organizations. So that is actually the core message of Pan-Africanism, is about organizing ourselves into self-sustainable communities and strong communities that can now be helping or be serving as a background of every African male and female wherever we happen ourselves on the face of this earth. Now, that being said, these are certain strategies, because I know it is very difficult for people to change, the value system under which they've been operating. And everything that we have to do to see Africa change requires a certain mentality, certain way of doing things, which is different from the former way that we have been, in which we have been doing things. So now, as you go in the year 2022, maybe few advice for you that can help you as an individual and can help all of us as collective people to work efficiently and effectively to achieve our individual goals and objectives, as well as a collective goals that we have for African liberation. We have to realize and understand that our world is changing tremendously and rapidly on daily basis. Technology is changing the world in a way you cannot really measure. So you need also to be on top of the game. And one of the ways you can do that is to improve yourself, to keep on learning new things, to keep on gaining new knowledge that can help you to navigate the new world order, or to navigate the year 2022. So my first advice is that you have to keep on learning. You have to keep on learning. And learning is not just, accumulating new lessons, but it's also unlearning old lessons that have become irrelevant or obsolete according to or related to today's reality. You have to question everything that you have learned, throughout your life. Are these things still relevant today in the face of today's reality? Are these things, this knowledge that you have learned, are they still really relevant? You need to ask this question because these are very important questions. So learning implies unlearn and also learn new knowledge, right? So if you have something that you have hold onto for a long time in terms of culture, tradition, knowledge that has been obviously transferred to you, that is no longer relevant today, you have to get rid of it. As John Henry Clark told us, that everything that touches your life, that be spiritually, intellectually, culturally, economically, in anyhow, it should be an instrument of your liberation and emancipation. In this particular moment, Africa needs liberation and Africa needs emancipation. So everything that you learn should be able to help you to liberate yourself and to emancipate yourself. That be your religion, that be your economy, your job, or whatsoever, your marriage, your relationships should be able to empower you to liberate yourself and to emancipate yourself. But if it doesn't fulfill those two functions, you don't have to waste time on them or on it. You have to throw it in the trash can of history as soon as possible. So you need to be the person that is eager to learn new knowledge, because as I said, the world is changing. Sometimes this, if you are a student, as we're speaking right now, the education that you are spending money and effort and energy to learn maybe is becoming irrelevant in a way that in a way that technology, robots is now replacing people in doing the job that you are studying for. So you have to question everything. You have to put everything in perspective of the future, of the current and the future challenges. Is your education helping you? So you need to unlearn and relearn new things that really help you to stay on top of the game in terms of the challenges that we'll be able to face in 2022. So every spare time that you have, take opportunity to read a new book, take opportunity to think, because learning sometimes is also part of thinking and observing the nature, get inspiration. So give yourself a moment to do those things. And the second principle that I want to share with you for the year 2022 is avoid procrastinating. It means if you have something that you need to do for today, you need to do it. Don't have to send it for tomorrow, because tomorrow comes with new challenges. Tomorrow comes with new problems that requires time for you to solve. And if you send the task that you have to do today to tomorrow, combined with the task that you have tomorrow that you don't know yet, okay, it might become overwhelming in terms of the time for you to do that. One thing that I need to share with you, it's very important. If you are 30 years today, you remember you have been able to live only half of the number of your years. I'm going to explain that. If you are 30 years today, it means you have been living only for 15 years. Why? Because you have spent half of your time sleeping. As you know, a day is 24 hours. We spend half of the day sleeping and half of the day obviously active doing what we have to do. So now you need to question, what do you do in every day? Because some of us have been able to live, maybe if if we are 30 years old, some of us have been able to live maybe 10 years or 7 years only, because we spend half of the 30 years sleeping and we spend half of the 15 years doing nonsense things. I'm saying nonsense things because there are things that don't bring value in your life. Things such as, I don't know. I might say watching soccer. Some people love soccer. I might offend some people who love soccer, but really, I'm just looking. When you spend, 5 hours per day watching games, people that you are watching are people who are actually expressing their talents and getting paid for the expression of their talents. So the question is, you who spend 5 hours per day watching soccer, what are you getting out of it? Question mark. So there are people who spend a lot of time on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, I don't know, and doing nothing meaningful in terms of the contribution those things bring to their life. So when you break these whole things down of in order to find how many years have you been able to live, because when I'm talking about living, I'm talking about doing some activities that make your life meaningful. And your life becomes meaningful when it's bring contribution to the struggle of African liberation, because you are an African, and all our efforts today, globally speaking, as African people, should be aiming to create the conditions of African liberation, because only Africa that is liberated can ensure that you as African person, you are a powerful person, you are a respected person on this earth. If Africa is still weak and disorganized, as I've just said, all of us, in whatever we do, we are still going to be weak and manipulated people. So learn and do not procrastinate, because time is one of the resources that you will never going to be able to recover. If you lose time today, it's gone, right? And every time, every day comes with challenges, comes with new problems that have to be solved. And as you solve the problems of today, you graduate to solve the problem of tomorrow, and that is how we grow. And if you push always the difficult tasks tomorrow, you might be not able to grow, emotionally, intellectually, I don't know, in any aspect or any area of your life. So second thing, as I said, avoid procrastinating. Spend time doing things that you are supposed to do every day. If you have to love your family, don't procrastinate that for tomorrow. Love them today. Show them love. If you have to work for Africa, do it today. Tomorrow might not be yours. If you have to make your life meaningful, don't procrastinate that for tomorrow. Do it today. If you have to stop smoking, do that today. If you have to stop consumerism, do that from today. If you have to start studying, do that right now from today. And lastly, you need to have a discipline. None of all these things can be done if you don't have a discipline. Talking about discipline is the ability to do something even if when you don't feel like you have to do it, when you don't even feel like you have to do something, when you don't feel like when you feel like you don't have to read a book, you have to force yourself to read a book, and that is called discipline. When you feel like you don't have to, for example, to study or to learn something, but you force yourself to learn something, no matter how uncomfortable you feel, that is what we call discipline. So you need a discipline for you to achieve anything, any goal you set for yourself for the year 2022. You see, discipline is the only thing that you do. No matter how small, you do it every day, continually. Continue to do that, and that is the key. Do it every day. It will become a habit. It will become a discipline. It will become a culture. And eventually, before you realize it, there will be one last drop that will always make your cup overflowing. You see, one ordinary act that as you know that you have been doing every day. There's gonna be only one last act, one last action, one last thing that you do. Ordinary, not really extraordinary. Ordinary, as you have been doing it every day. That last one that will make you cup to overflow. It means it will come. It will obviously add itself to the number of tasks that you have been doing every day, and it's gonna change completely the reality of your life. Even within this struggle of Pan-Africanism, in this party, African Continental Unity Party, some people look at us, look what we do every day as meaningless, as not important, because they don't see this party, on the mainstream. But you understand the mainstream is controlled by the system, and we understand that, and we are not really frustrated by the fact that many people don't know yet about this party. We believe that you, as you are watching this video, you are a channel through which other people will get to know the party, the African Continental Unity Party, because you will be sharing this video with other people, you'll be liking this video, and you'll be sharing it with other people, and that is the way other people will get to know this. By the way, what I'm saying is, some of the things that we do, many people may think they are not really impactful or meaningful, but we know we will continue to do what we are doing every day, and one day there will be one action that we'll do that will change the reality of this party, and it will become the number one party in Africa that will govern, that will take us, that take us beyond the 21st century, as we are always, or all of us, asking ourselves, how are we gonna get to beyond the 21st century, looking at the current situation. So I encourage you to seriously consider this advice. They are the advices that obviously strong and wise people have been able to use and have been able to succeed, because discipline is the key. Continue to do that every day, meaningfully, every day, passionately, and you will see your reality changing. So in finish, what I have to say is that if you settle yourself to do the very same things that you have been doing in the year 2021, you might be able to see only the result that you have seen in the year 2021. So if you are not happy with the results that you have seen for the year 2021, you have to change what you have been doing. You have to begin doing new things so that you can be able to see a different result for the year 2022. I hope that on behalf of the ACUP, the African Continental Unity Party, we hope that the year 2022 is going to be a successful year for you, for your family, for your projects, for your study, for whatever that you do, for your business, for your company. And most importantly, it's going to be a successful year for all of us as members of the African Continental Unity Party. It's going to be a successful year for all of us as African people, a year where we're going to mark some important progress in our struggle for the African liberation and African emancipation. Remember, everything that touches your life in the year 2024, it should be converted into an instrument of your liberation and emancipation. If it does not fulfill those two things in your life, you have to throw it away as soon as possible. Anything that's your religion, that's be your religion, that's be your spirituality, that's be your culture, that's be your tradition, that's be your economy, your job, your relationship, your study, anything that you do for the year 2022, if it does not brings to you some conditions of liberation and emancipation, throw it away and look for something else that can empower you and liberate you. Peace and power to you all. See you in the year 2022, and we hope to have another meaningful year. And I invite you to be committed to the agenda of the African Continental Unity Party, because it's the agenda for African liberation. Peace and power.